My full name is Arlene Hamel. I was born October the 1st, 1936. I was born here in Schreiber. I was here until I was 3 years old. And then we moved to White River. I came back in 1975. My maternal grandparents were born in England. My father's parents were born in Pennsylvania. His father was born in Pennsylvania. His mother, I believe, was from here. We met at work, and his name was Ray Hamel, and that was in we married in 1957. I have 3 sons, Stephen, James, and Perry. Stephen, I believe, is going to be 57. James, 53, and Perry, 51. And of course, I have 3 grandchildren. Justina is 19, Shauna is 16, and Maddie is 7. Housewife, if you still call that an occupation. I also worked for Canada Post for 23 years. Yes, I guess I did begin in White River when I worked for Bell Canada as a telephone operator. Oh yes, people would, the light would come on for whoever number was calling, and you had your headphone on and you'd say, "Number please." You'd plug in the thing first and say, "Number please," and they'd say, "I'd like number 82. And we'd take that up, and you'd say, "Thank you." You'd connect them, they'd talk, and when they were finished, we'd pull out the plugs and wait for the next call. Yeah, it was really the old-fashioned way. Saturday night, people would go home from from the Legion or the bar. Then they want to phone everybody, so you were busy there. Yeah. Oh yes, you could plug in, well, I forget how many cords there were, but you know, once they were all used up, then whoever's trying to call would have to wait. You know, you put them on hold. And yes, I'm currently volunteering with the North Shore Harvest Food Cupboard, and I've done so for 10 years. My favorite memories of growing up: taking the train, having a train ride from White River all the way to Fort William, which seemed such a long trip. We'd board the train at around 11 at night, and of course we had to sleep, and we'd wake up just pulling into the station in Fort William, and that was quite exciting. Of course, it took a while for us to get to sleep. Oh, a lot of crazy things. We played outdoors mostly and enjoyed the fresh air. Tag was one of our favorites. Running and hiding, you probably did the same when you were a kid. And we didn't have much to dress up with, so we improvised. A scarf was a skirt. Headgear was whatever we could find. Yeah. And we always pretended to be somebody else. It was a game of pretend. Our dolls were quite important to us, mainly because there wasn't anything else, you know. And we did a lot of coloring, painting, which got kind of messy from time to time, but we everything was mostly outdoors. So yes, we walked from town all the way out to the lake and did our swimming and walked all the way back. And hiking, of course. We used to climb up Blueberry Hill, as it was called. Well, Blueberry Mountain to us, but it was just a hill. And spend the day just running around in the bush. Very simple, you know. Nothing too important, just having fun. To us, they were mountains, and even to the grown-ups. Oh, well, that's Blueberry Mountain over there. That's yeah. Everything has changed. Everything. Everything was done manually, and now with all the gadgets and whatnot, something I haven't gotten into yet, But yeah, we did everything by hand. We didn't have TV, of course. Radio was the thing. We listened to a lot of strange programs, some of them. Like I mentioned before, Digger Odell, the Friendly Undertaker, which we got a real kick out of. And the Happy Gang was on every day at noon, I believe, and they played wonderful music. And we hated to miss anything. We'd dash home from school and listen to the Happy Gang while we had lunch. And the odd ghost stories they used to have on there. So, other than that, we were out doing our own thing, making our own fun. You had to adhere to the rules because that's the way it was. Yeah. Mealtime, you talked if you were asked a question. Otherwise, you were quiet and you ate your food, and that was the rule. You weren't there to have fun, you were there to eat. And you ate what you were given. Yeah. Mother only cooked one meal a day for supper, and that's when we ate it or we we went to bed. Which I guess the rules were strict and you had to follow them. They call it the good old days, but sometimes when you lived through it, they weren't so good. So we got to work shifts. Day shift was quite busy, but the night shift could be busy too. And they had a little cot there, so that if nobody was calling at 3 in the morning, you could lie down and maybe catch an hour's sleep, but usually somebody would be 4 o'clock in the morning, want to call somebody. So we were all assigned chores. It was just the way things were done. You weren't just a kid running around having fun. We had to make our beds. We had to change our beds I think it was once a week. Saturdays we'd do that, get the dust mop and go around and do that. And we always had to do the dishes. Well, we didn't have to, but you know, it was the way things were. You just automatically, cleaned the plates off and did the dishes. Let Mother go sit and have her cup of tea. I do some knitting. I walk my dog, of course. I don't know if you can call that a hobby, but sometimes it's work. Oh yes, I read all the time. I read all the time. And I don't know if it's a hobby, but I like to hike until I can't do it anymore. Yeah. My favorite team, yes, and they lost last night. Yes, I like following the Jays. Well, I do. I follow the other ones too, but they're my favorites because they're the only Canadian team. We have to cheer for our Canadian team. The Little Sprouts Community Garden is a very nice garden plot. Every year it's filled. Everybody has their own plot and they keep it neat and tidy and things grow very well over there. There's a lot of weeding to be done, unfortunately. They grow like magic. And some people do keep them nice and neat, but some people let them go. So if I have a little extra time, I'll go and yank out somebody else's weeds. Why not? Well, I usually grow carrots, peas, yellow beans, beets, and potatoes. And they grow very well, very well. I had a bumper potato crop last year, and they were huge, huge. I'll have to remember what brand or type I bought because they were very good. They grew very well, and I always give a lot of my stuff away, but it's a little much for one person to use. But yeah, I'll freeze some of the stuff. And, yeah, keeps me going for a while. Schreiber's a nice place to live. It's quiet, peaceful most of the time. Not too much trouble going on. Yeah. I prefer it to a city, even Thunder Bay. That's used to be a nice place. When I was a kid growing up, we couldn't wait to get to Thunder Bay or Fort William. And of course, we ran around the whole town. Can you imagine? 3 little kids running all the way down Simpson Street, and it to where Intercity is now. Yeah, and we'd hang out and run around, and go do our thing. Be back for supper at 6 o'clock. Otherwise, you're free for the day. We never even thought of it, and I don't think our parents were that concerned either, because there was nothing going on back in those days. Yeah. We used to go down to the dock and watch the ships come in. And we'd talk to all the, well, sailors, we called them sailors. Oh, come on in. But we would never go into the boat, though. So they would bring a piece of cake or something, you know, for us. And they'd talk, chat away at it with us. And it was an experience, yeah. And our parents never worried. We were gone for most of the day. As long as we came home for supper, things were good.